A warm welcome to this edition of the Citizens Chat Show on Civic Space TV. We're streaming on YouTube. I'm your host, Judith Atim, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us on the show. Our topic today is the integrity of the Tanzania election and the Kampala floods. Basically, on the show today, we are bridging these two seemingly different yet deeply connected crises in the East African region. On the one hand, we have the man-made political tragedy of the disputed Tanzania election, and on the other, the man-made environmental disaster of the Kampala floods. Welcome to the show once again, and it is also my pleasure to invite and welcome our usual panelists. From my immediate left, Dr. Robert Ojiambo, head of the History Department at Kyambongo University. A warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, Judith. Good evening, viewers. I'm glad to be here.
Also joining us is Dr. Sarah Bireete, Executive Director, Center for Constitutional Governance. A warm welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you, Judith. Good afternoon, viewers and fellow panelists.
You look exhausted.
It's a struggle.
It has to continue. You're serving the nation, so we appreciate you for that. Last but not least, retired Major Awich Pollar, Director for External Affairs at the NRM Secretariat. A warm welcome to the show.
Thank you, Judith.
We've also missed you for quite some time now on the show.
Same challenge, serving the nation. Good evening, viewers. I greet my colleagues here. I greet you as well. Nice to be here.
Well, thank you. We'll be joined, of course, by other guests. We'll let you know. You'll see them as they walk in. So thank you to each of you for making time. But before we cross to Tanzania to actually analyze what has happened from last week when they had elections to now, let's journey across the Atlantic, where Ugandan-born Zoran Mamdani, son to scholar Mahmoud Mamdani, just won the mayoral seat of New York City, which is a global economic hub and a hub for international diplomacy. At 34 years old, he becomes the youngest mayor in more than a century to lead New York City. Did it come as a surprise to any of you? Or just your quick thoughts? Let me start with you in just 3-4 minutes.
No, for me, I saw this coming, just like I saw Obama becoming a president. When he was a senator, the day he was elected senator, I remember I did not sleep because I wanted to know the result. At that time, it had been hyped that a Kenyan who was vying for Senate position. And when he became the senator, of course, it just built for him a platform to become a president. Mamdani has been the same. By the Mamdani has been serving at the council in a lower position, and he had done very well. He's down to earth. He resonates very well with the common person, and he has been spot on the problems that are affecting the normal New Yorker, to an extent that it has been very difficult to campaign him, because even my very good friend Donald Trump tried, and he has landed with it because the man was speaking to the problems. You know, right now, New York is facing a very big problem among all the states of United States of America. The cost of living is very high. There is a lot of there are a lot of taxes, and of course, with the Trump policies that he has come up with, so many people, and New York is a place that have so many migrants. And in fact, Trump's coming into the campaign Mamdani just helped him, because that is what Mamdani was struggling against, because Trump has made America to look like a Tsarist or a Zionist Republic of the United States, where he thinks that it should only be whites and those purists and whites who are rich who should survive in the United States of America. For example, he has reduced the migration numbers from about 130,000. They now want only 7,000 in some cities. So because of that, it just blew for Mamdani. But Mamdani, in addition, the father took the academics. For him, he took the charisma. He can speak and he can convince people. He speaks, very courageous young man, and a young man who has grown up in Uganda and United States and many other places. So he has a lot, he combines a lot of cultures together. He was putting together African culture, Indian culture, and Arabic religion. So this just propelled him. We wish him well. We are happy that at least Uganda, for the first time, we are doing something good outside Uganda, not exporting war.
Thank you. Thank you. But on him being a good speaker, I think his father is a great speaker too. If you've attended,
mother.
yeah, so I think it's also the
Yeah,
environment, but also
he's a son of an academic and a film maker,
director.
so you have to.
Yes. Thank you. The storytellers in different ways. Dr. Sarah.
Well, we have our Obama moment as a country. Whereas Kenya celebrated their Obama moment, I think Uganda is celebrating the Mamdan moment. I saw White struggling to pronounce the name. I think by morning CNN was calling it Mandin or something. But they will have to learn. Yeah, Zoran is an emerging global leader, combining different cultures, as Doctor has said, combining different talents of the mother and father, but also having had a contemporary experience growing up in Uganda, in the US, and India.
And South Africa.
Yeah. So he is a contemporary citizen that has realized the dream that America used to be known for.
True.
And will fight for the rights of the New Yorkers as he has promised. His policies were really, upsetting the status quo. Since the time the debates campaign, he's really led the debate. Because I don't think there is any candidate whose policies has been debated in the US. And I watch usually BBC and CNN. I don't think there is any candidate really whose policies have been debated like Mamdani's throughout the campaign. And, his slogan for the victory speech, turn the volume up. So as Ugandans, our volume will be up as we wait to celebrate his achievements. I wish to congratulate him.
Thank you. Thank you. And Major.
Well, I am happy that it did happen. Although, if you ask me whether, like you asked at the beginning, whether we saw it happen, I was really 50-50. I thought the situation was hostile against him and he wouldn't make it, but I'm glad he made it. Then also, I'm happy for Uganda because this is one few occasions where Uganda gets to be known. I have had the opportunity to contest in New York for elections twice, which I won. But sometimes it is very embarrassing because the states are voting and you meet a diplomat from Estonia or Lithuania and you say, I'm a candidate from the Republic of Uganda. It's like, Uganda? Oh, this country of Amin. This one of President Amin even ask you, is Amin still alive? So it is rare to be known. And yet if you are standing with candidates like from Brazil, you easily know them for their football, for their what. So you are really marketing yourself against a country in the oblivion. And yet other candidates are candidates from non-countries. So you have to struggle to bring your quality. Therefore, the election of Mamdani acts as a signpost for us. At least you wouldn't now be going to campaign to a diplomat from Estonia or Lithuania who will struggle to locate Uganda only to help catch you by Idi Amin, a president whom they saw in a movie eating a human heart. So he acts as our ambassador, it pushes us up. But also it reveals a lot of American politics because you could see it dirty, the way they're playing a religion and this and that. I thought they had grown over that. We thought they were setting the pace for us to see They call them a superpower, civilized country. We thought we'd see issue-based things. But even the president himself was having a debased kind of argument. So he said, hey, Kume, we're all human beings after all. If America can also go into tribalities, tribal things, and keep that line of argument, then who are we from a third world country? So we learn a lot from it. Congratulations to our son, our brother, and it really acts there as our flag. For whatever reason now, we are known. We are not only now linked to Amin. So those of us who will be candidates, those Ugandans who will candidates later, will not face a lot of uphill to introduce yourself. It happens to all candidates, including people like Justice Sebutinde. You ask them. You go for election and you are campaigning, and you are going to meet embassies as sent a candidate officer. You know, every embassy has a candidate, somebody who assesses candidates for their country to vote. So you're going to meet a young girl, a candidate officer of Lithuania, and you are telling the candidate officer, please, I'm a candidate for the ICJ judge, or ICC, I'm Justice Sebutinde, I'm from Uganda. And the candidate officer like, Sebutinde, judge, yes, I know a judge, what a judge does. What, from which country? Uganda. This country of Amin. So, I'm glad for Mamdani, and congratulations to him and to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for your thoughts. Of course, from here on the show, we also send him our hearty congratulations. So now let's return from New York and get back to business in East Africa. And of course, our other guest has just joined us, Honorable Henry Banyenzaki, seasoned politician, former minister. You're most welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you found when we had just, your colleagues had just given their thoughts and reflections on the election of Zoran Mamdani as New York mayor, New York City mayor. So just in 2 minutes or 3, I would also like to hear what you think about this.
Thank you. Zoran Mamdani. I'm so happy for him. And I think some time back on this forum, I said that Uganda, we don't know how to nurture talents. And that is a demonstration exactly what it is. If Mamdani was here and I saw him was saying he grew up in Buziga and he would contest for an LC1 position. Our mobilizers from our Secretariat would not even mobilize for him to be an LC1 chairperson. They wouldn't recognize that talent. Neither would even our big national leaders see him as a talent. So, in this case, this is a demonstration that we have a lot of talent in this country that has been put to waste. And I'm so happy for him that the Americans have seen the goodness in him. And this should be an eye-opener to Ugandans that we have a lot of talents that have been in diaspora over there. And actually, it's not only even Mamdani. You can see Obama, when Obama became a president, if Obama had been in Kenya, they wouldn't have even elected him, maybe as a counselor of that place of theirs. So we have a problem in Africa as large, and even specifically in Uganda, of not supporting the talent and nurture the talent so that we go on the global stage. And as long as we are having this kind of leaders elected and appointed who do not measure up, we shall always remain a banana republic. Because if we are going to have leaders who are going to be elected and in the parliament, you elect the people who praise Zungururu, Katemba, and you elect a person because he has composed a hit song.
Given Yarko.
And then you appoint somebody because he's very good at abusing the other leaders who have a point to say. Who is that presidential advisor? Your boss.
RDC.
No. There's this woman Full figure.
Ah, full figure.
Full figure is his boss. Can you imagine? Full figure. Yes.
How?
Because he's a presidential advisor for mobilization. And he is in mobilization. Can you imagine? So this is the situation we are in.
But
That
is
is
he
the
full
father
figure on the
man.
payroll?
Yes.
Of course.
In fact, it's senior.
He is exactly
Senior
presidential
advisor.
advisor for mobilization. Meaning he's the boss, is our boss. Can you imagine how we are reduced to that thing? So I think, but with due respect to my brother, he is a talent. That's why I'm saying that we don't know how to know. This one is supposed to be heading like this. He should be like UN, those UN organizations. A seasoned lawyer, very brilliant, very articulate. That is how we are. Even me.
Working under full figure.
Full figure. So I'm very happy for him that. And he's actually, as I've said, is an eye opener. I hope our leaders, our leaders, here my colleague is saying there he's now going to be our ambassador. Okay, he's going to ambassador when our system did not actually rejected him. And he had to vent for himself to be where he is. Now we remember to own him. So I'm so happy for him. I wish and I hope one day I will have a problem. I will have an opportunity to meet him and we compare notes.
Well, thank you. So let's now return from across the Atlantic to the side of the Sahara. We're back at home, of course, here in Kampala, and we're shifting our focus to the crisis that has paralyzed Uganda's capital, the floods. Following controversial construction in the Nakivubo area, we have seen the central business district submerged recently, with traders reporting losses running into the billions of shillings. Well, the key contention here, of course, rests on wetland encroachment and the lack of adherence to the Kampala City Drainage Master Plan. Also specifically, we know that the Lord Mayor, Arias Lukwago, warned severally that the construction by businessman Hamis Chigundu on the Nakivubo channel would be dire, a warning that has tragically materialized. So the focus here is, was this a natural disaster? Was it a man-made tragedy born from a lack of political stewardship? What exactly happened? How could this have been averted? Let me start with you, Dr. Ojiambo. The problem that we've seen in the Central Business District in the last couple of weeks or days.
Judith, you have nailed it. In fact, if we were not for a matter of just discussing, we would stop there and we go away. Because you just called it a man-made disaster, and indeed it is. We were on this show one time discussing the letter written by His Excellency the President to the Prime Minister of Uganda, and instructing her to make sure that HAM's project is assisted and approved, and he called it is a God-given investor. For the first time, he had found a person who was doing things that we want. And some of us laughed here and said, I think our president is going too far. Because that channel is a development of World Bank. Before that channel was developed, there were a lot of problems in Kampala, because Kampala, that side of Kampala, the downtown, is in the Nakivubo a wetland. That whole area is supposed to be a wetland. And the wetlands, by the way, it is not true that wetlands cannot be utilized, but they can be utilized with very serious conditions, and you must follow them to the letter. If you know, Netherlands is the only country below sea level, and therefore, if you don't deal with it properly, it can easily flood and become a sea. But they have managed to survive there, and is one of the most successful countries in that area. Looking at Nakivubo channel has been a problem. Judith, I just want to take you a little bit back. There was Sauriako between Nakivubo and where the channel is now. That place started by mysterious fires. There were mysterious fires every time people wake up in the morning and police is announcing that people burnt the market. And because of that, it was decided that that place need to be developed, including Owino Market, what they call now St. Barkudembe Market. And there was a lot of struggle in that place on who should take it. Indeed, Ham looks a God-sent person. He was sent by God, this corrupt God of ours these days. So that man came and he took the bigger part of Sauriako. We now have a fleet of malls there, including Nakivubo Stadium has been taken and constructed on. It is now a stadium mall. In fact, Nakivubo Stadium cannot handle CAF or FIFA matches because it does not qualify. It is no longer a stadium, it is a stadium mall, which is not allowed in football. It can only handle these small things, the CAF football and what have you. For that purpose, that channel has been a problem. By the way, I have a student who did that channel from, we have Nachivubo channel, we have, it connects to Luzira, it connects to this one, which starts in Northern Bypass here. And this is the only escape route that water goes into and then joins the Luzira and the Chinawataka channel. That is how the drainage was drawn in Kampala. And it is an area that needs to be handled with a lot of care because Kampala had its natural drainage. Wherever there is Kampala is a city of hills. There used to be, there are now more than 30.
There used to be 7.
There used to be 7, but there are now more than 30. So everywhere you see a hill, there is normally a valley, and that valley connects to Lake Victoria in one way or the other. So Lukwago, when they were starting that whole business, he raised an alarm. The structural committee of KCC raised an alarm. And many others. But in this country, we have institutions that have let us down, including national NEMA. NEMA is the worst. NEMA came up with the impact assessment and said it is okay. The development can go on.
For Nachivubo.
For that channel.
But there was a disclaimer.
They've denied.
There was a disclaimer
I saw a letter giving them a go-ahead. They sent their parliamentary committee, I think on natural something, led by Segona. That one also let us down. It brought a report. In fact, that report was passed. It is one of the reports that were passed omnibussly. They were in omnibus. There were so many other reports. So they said, report on this, report on this, report on this, report on this are all approved. Those who are saying nay, say nay, and those who are say this, and they passed it omnibussly. So I really want to imagine that the other category that let us down was the engineering profession. Because the engineers, even the simplest who has just started a course on engineering, saw a disaster in that thing. Because there is no way you can cover a narrow channel, because Nachivubo channel is very narrow to be covered. And it is an outlet that has any diversion. You can't divert it anywhere. And therefore, they needed first of all to expand it. They did not expand it. Now, the engineers are saying, the KCCA engineers are saying that what they approved is not what was implemented. But for me, I thought that when they are doing such a huge project, there is normally a project management team from KCCA, which is supposed to monitor 24/7. So do they want to say that this was done when they had gone for a vacation somewhere? But by and large, now let's be local as I finish.
Doctor, can I interject?
Yes.
We started on a letter which came from the chief executive of this
Yes,
country.
yes.
Just be loud a little
I'm
bit.
going to end with it.
Yeah, that is it.
I
This
am,
institution is not brave.
I am going to end with that letter. The local people who have been around that place have been complaining that this channel, the construction of it is blocking all the inlets of water. And it was on that basis that Lukwago, who is a lawyer, not a structural engineer, said that let's just receive one rain. In fact, he called it a Chireche Nkuba. One rain, you will see the whole town flooding. I have that video. People castigated Lukwago. They said he's anti-development. That man, when will he leave that city? He's sinister. He's a very bad person. Lukwago, I know where he is as a mayor is not happy, but he's very refreshed because what he predicted came. But the biggest problem in this country, as I've always said, is where it began from, the letter of the president. The president of the Republic of Uganda is the first citizen and therefore the first public servant of Uganda. But he is given professionals and technical people who are supposed to guide him to do the work that he does. Unfortunately, many times the president has ignored the technical advice that is given to him and become the technical person. When I read that letter, I said, hey, this country, do we have a ministers who are aligned ministers? Do we have a city engineer? Why is the president the one writing this letter? And harm issues have caused a lot of trouble. Harm began with a construction opposite Makerere University on the road reserve. And when they tried to stop him, the president came in. Ham went and started constructing malls, like I said, around the football pitch. They were told that you cannot construct malls on a football pitch. The FIFA and CAF will never allow such premises to be used. The president said, let him go on. Can we now say that Ham works hand in hand with the president to construct this? So this business of accusing so many other people, I think the person to accuse is the head of state.
Thank you, Dr. Ojiambo. Dr. Sarah Bireete.
So, oh my God. So when you look at the crisis of floods in Achuvubo, and the rains are yet to come, so this is just the beginning of rains, you see the crisis of governance in Uganda. All of them, the aspects of the governance crisis in this country are represented in the Nachuvubo Channel saga. First is the character who is the investor in Nachuvubo. Let me start with Ham himself. Before Ham, we had such a strange overnight billionaires like Ezra. He was called Michael Ezra.
Mike Ezra.
Yes. Michael Ezra was an overnight billionaire who later disappeared in thin air. And the money he was using could be the same money that Ham is using. Meaning that the actors of these overnight billionaires are more or less the same. After Michael Ezra, we saw Brian White, who has now turned out to be a witch.
Sangoma.
Yeah, a witch with murdering people in a shrine. The money Brian White was splashing around is the same source. Now it's Ham Chugundu. Because who can trace the origins of Ham Chugundu's money? I can bet that no one can. I can bet here. He just appeared after Michael Ezra, Brian White, so we are dealing with Ham Chugundu. Ham Chugundu seems to be exercising extreme impunity in all his developments. backed by the powers that be. Why do I say so? Let's look at Nachivubo channel. Hamchugundu tried to secure approval for CAF for after destroying Nachivubo Stadium. Because I think what remains of Nachivubo Stadium is really a shopping mall. I haven't been to that channel. I must be genuine.
I
But-
passed there a couple of days ago just to
Yes,
see.
but to have, there is no, the car can't reach.
No.
Which stadium has no parking? I have seen stadiums in Ghana. I have seen stadiums in Kenya. I have seen stadiums. There is no stadium like Nachivubo. I have not seen. No access, surrounded by shops. How?
No emergency exit.
How? Even the one done in Hoima is far better. Nachivubo Stadium was a legendary stadium.
War memorial.
Now we have like a cartoon of a stadium, thanks to him with the shops. It's just a shopping mall. So from there, he couldn't secure. He was told he needs more space at the stadium. Hence the innovation in courts to develop the channel and create more space. So he gets this idea, and on 3rd April, between 3rd to 10th April, you had the gymnastics at KCCA through the council. And I think that the councillors were, as they debated the report on Kampala drainage, I think they were also driven by a mixture either of little information, because we know little information is also dangerous and can be more dangerous than ignorance. So I think they were also suffering from that vice of little information, and they gave preliminary blanket approval for KCCA to work with the developer, although they put a simple clause that KCCA should supervise, but that doesn't exonerate the...
Have been flooded by money.
Yeah, that doesn't exonerate these councillors, and they must be held accountable because this crisis starts with them. From the councillors, you come to the ministers, now the politics in KCCA. Rukwago gets information as the Lord Mayor in passing, and he wrote, because there is a letter he wrote around 2nd or 3rd June to NUP, National Unity Platform, which controls 90% of these councillors, that gave blanket approval, complaining about their conduct. And from there, then you see the president's letter, which came in August. But between April, July, you have the council. There is even movement, because now I have 3 reports. Report 1 of KCCA and 2 on Nachivubo, then the final report on non-compliance by HAM and a series of letters. So you have, between April and July, KCCA is dealing with this matter. Even then, there was the acting ED before the Hajat came in, Frank Rusa, where it's rumored that even people attempted to acquire titles in that period before Hajat comes in, and thank God they didn't. I'm sure sacks of money were moving around. So when the president writes and says this is a godly miracle, please facilitate. But he also indicates in his own letter that there should be cleaning of this channel before. And I want to specifically voice out to the president's letter, because the back starts with him and stops with him. So he says in the 2nd paragraph in his letter, his proposal is imaginative and simple. Allow him to cover the channel after cleaning it and strengthening it at his cost. Cleaning and
Strengthening.
at his cost, then you cover to build. So HAM comes in without approval of KCCA, full approval, because KCCA was waiting for the plan to approve the plans of cleaning, strengthening, and then construction after covering. There is no NEMA approval on record according to the letter of 9th October by the NEMA ED. There is no letter of approval by NEMA. There is no approval from KCCA. HAM takes the channel. There is no lease at the time he comes and occupies the channel. And he occupies 6.5 acres of the channel. The channel has a total of 38 point something square kilometers. So he's occupying 6.5 acres. He has applied for this. But he comes in, takes entry and possession.
Before he's granted
Before
the lease,
he's
before
granted.
any necessary approvals are issued.
And he starts construction.
Impunity.
He comes in, covers the channel, no cleaning, no strengthening, even blocks the original drainage by the previous developments on the channel. The channel, Nachuvo channel was first developed in 1938 and further redeveloped with about $28 million from 1998 with international development assistance and World Bank loan. A lot of money in this channel. Done because the Nachuvo channel under World Bank was even supervised by World Bank consultants for over 10 years. Fully developed. He comes in, messes everything up. When you look at now the damage, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with billions of loss through property. We are dealing with submerged basements of buildings that are likely to start collapsing from 5 years and above, collapsing on people. We are dealing with the loss of lives out of distress and desperation of traders. By last evening, 3 traders have already died.
Stress-related.
Yes, stress-related. One of the elderly men collapsed and died from seeing the mess. We are looking at traders who are working with bank loans and they are supposed to pay. Some of them pay interest daily. You sell and bank money to service your loan. If you look at the magnitude of the loss, I think we are starting from about 500 million and above. And then government comes in. If
$100 million.
Dollars.
No. I'm saying per trader.
Per trader. 500 million
Hey.
shillings.
Shillings per trader.
Yeah.
Because these are not small traders. They are also small traders, but on average, you are looking at the big
Those are
volume.
thousands
Big
of people,
volume
yeah.
traders. So per trader, maybe 300 million and above.
That's still colossal.
And you are looking at thousands of traders. So if, like the Prime Minister's visit, before that KCCA was blocked by goons hired by HAM from accessing the channel. Even a property, a public property under KCCA management, HAM hired goons with some soldiers. Of course, also sometimes the difference between goons and soldiers sometimes is neither here
In Uganda now,
nor
it is
there.
difficult.
It could be the same thing. So they chased away the executive director of KCCA. They chased away the physical planners of KCCA. They chased away the environmental planners of KCCA from supervising the works. Rain comes in 2 days and the town is submerged. If we were a normal country, HAM would be behind bars. 2, if we were also a normal country, properties of HAM would be under attachment to sell and compensate the traders. But because we work through impunity, so you have the Prime Minister going through to inspect the channel. This is the same Prime Minister who went to inspect Chitezi after garbage had killed Ugandans, some of whom have never been compensated. And she was making mockery of people there in Chitezi. So in this channel, she goes, and because she was there, that was the only opportunity now for KCCA team to also inspect the channel. Out of anger of the traders, HAM was almost lynched. by the traders. He was only protected by the soldiers. Then the Prime Minister declares that the irregard of harm should continue. And she's pressurizing people to clear the way for harm to continue with his irregularities on Nachivubo channel. Maybe when the president said he was giving us a cabinet of fisher women and men, maybe we didn't take that seriously. I think we are beginning to reap from that, the fisher women. Because what kind of madness is this? I submit.
Thank you, Dr. Sarah. Honorable Banyenzaki, you've served in government and you understand the issues of pressure to find space for investors. But how do we then strike the balance between pushing for economic interests, but also, balancing that interest and public good in the case of harm unachievable?
First of all, I want to thank Sarah for her submission, which is more than 100% correct. Had you asked me to add on, I would have told you I have nothing to add on. Because what she has said is the truth. So thank you for bringing me to discuss something else to add on, which is not related. But what Sarah said, that is it. Maybe my colleague will have something to say about it. But for me, he was reading my notes. So on balancing the economic gains and interest,
yes.
You see, one trader in I think he's when a trader, somebody, streety guy there, said, is it only there Nachivubo that Trump should develop? The good senti investor that you're talking about. See, Nigeria took a bold decision. We can learn from Nigeria. Took a bold decision. And they built a new city out of scratch, from nowhere, 100%. There was not even, there were huts and what, that's where they were grazing from. They took Abuja, city there. They developed a new city completely. When you go to Abuja looks like these cities in China. There are 6-lane roads, both sides. It's a very well-planned city. You cannot believe that it is not comparable to Lagos. So if we were to be serious, we would have taken this good cent investor. Because you can imagine even Amini had already planned those days that we have a new city in Nakasongola. Whom we were talking about that, I think was he who was saying that there was.
It was him.
That's what the world knows about Uganda.
I know him as a serious person.
I
know him as a serious person, not that
I can rank
one.
him the best president ever. He was the most patriotic president that we have ever had. Not corrupt. He meant well for Uganda. So, in his negative propaganda they have put on him, he had planned a city in Nakasongola. So why can't we take this God sent investor and we give him that hundreds of square miles in Nakasongola and say, develop the city here? Why should we always bring him here to grab public land, to inconvenience people? We are talking about this market which was being banned. The banning of Nachivubo, those market, it was a planned saga. They never, because they knew that it would be very difficult to shift those traders elsewhere. So they had to
ban them.
Ban their property. They have nowhere to start from.
Did anybody compensate them?
No.
Where?
But what kind of
But
country are we living in?
the reports also never came out.
They were never compensated.
What kind of country are we?
This
is the gains these people are protecting.
Banned once, banned twice, until when they got so frustrated. And when they said a God-sent investor has come, it was a seamless development. But all those things were planned so that they leave, so that they get frustrated. So should we say that even these traders here now are being, it was a planned man-made disaster, so that with time they leave, so that a God-sent investor takes over the whole of Nachibugo,
Protecting the
take the
gains.
whole of downtown,
No,
that
no, no, no,
shopping
no, no.
hub. So to be honest to you, it is very disgusting. And one time we investigated a character called this one was this one was in Agoa,
Kananathan.
Kananathan. Kananathan had got $20 million then. By that time, $20 million was really a lot.
It still is.
Still a
Not
lot
now.
It's
of
still a lot of money.
Not now,
Mm.
because now we have really, the economy has expanded. So $20 million for Kananasan for that Agoa project, it was a total waste. I was just a member of parliament then, having come from Rwanda, but I could do, So we put our president to task. He said, I'm also a human being. I can do mistakes. That is one of them. The country has to move on. He did a, and when he said that, he did a, removed the fuse from us, because we were saying he's the one who had single-handedly handed over Kananasan the same kind of project. So in this kind of project, my president may not be forgiven by the people of Uganda, because this is too much. When you look at how people have lost their money, this is too much. And when my good doctor was apportioning the blames to Manyaku, Nemo, just, it is that letter that unlocked everything. There is no way how the president is going to get out of this. So, it is, I think, with due respect to my president, what the decision that was done, whoever convinced him, or if he convinced himself, I think as a government, we owe the people of Uganda an apology. And that also demonstrates, of course, the collapse of institutions. All the institutions have collapsed, the planning institutions have collapsed. So, because the planning is streaming from one source, and that one source has led us into this kind of disaster mess. And when you expand it further, I think, I don't know, and it is coming at a time when World Bank had eased its conditions on us, and we had started concessional lending. Concessional lending, that means that they give us money on low interest rates,
And
we get access to grants. There are a lot of benefits we get. Because when the World Bank had closed that tap, that's when we had raided commercial banks, and we were getting high interest loans from commercial banks, and the government was competing with the private sector, and the private sector could not even access this money because money would have been borrowed away by the government. So in essence, the savers, those who save little money in the banks, were saving that money, and it is that money that was being borrowed to government to implement the budget. And that was very expensive source of money. So this has come now at again, when the World Bank has said, okay, that's given us a lease of life again, and then again, we mess up the project that was so dear to them and they had funded. So the alternatives is to have a new city, get a new city, develop a new city, and even these other cities that we have approved. Go to Mbarara, develop it. Go to Hoima, develop it. Go to Nakasongola, Sechua land, develop a new city. Go to northern Uganda, go to Amur or wherever Sechua says a chunk of land and develop a new city. The way Nigeria developed Abuja, the way Tanzania developed Dodoma. There are so many examples to learn from.
Thank you. Major, I'll come to you, and I have two questions for you. We are in a campaign season. The traders are demanding compensation. They're demanding accountability. what is the response plan from the ruling party? But also, secondly, we know that the NRM government has talked a lot of times strongly against encroachment. But when it comes to high-profile individuals engaged in large-scale encroachment, we see them, left to go unhindered. How does the NRM as a party and as a government resolve this visible contradiction?
So you have raised two issues.
Two issues for you.
Compensation
Yes.
issue and the high-level encroachment.
Because certainly this flood situation and also looking at past disasters like Chiteze will certainly also determine, and this will be one of the issues around which people in Kampala vote.
Okay. The two issues are clear and they deserve short and precise reply too. But I also want to comment on what my colleagues have said.
Sure.
Maybe I start with World Bank. I'm glad that World Bank have come back on board. We had a lot to fight with them because World Bank is controlled by shareholders, and United Nations is a big shareholder in the World Bank. When we passed the anti-homosexuality bill, as a shareholder, they prevail on World Bank not to give us money. Me and my other colleagues, the Secretary General, we knew that part of the presentations or information World Bank was getting from our fellow political actors, the political parties. So we sought an audience with World Bank where we traveled to the World Bank and we met them and we presented our case, especially about the areas of the law that was passed, because it was one single thing. And they listened to us. We prayed that they come back and they should lift what they had imposed. So I'm glad that they are back. I really feel it is part of my patriotic duty I did. We're always talking about patriotism, that we could address World Bank and ask them to really rescind in their position, and they have done it. I'm so happy. The other thing is about the trend that this circus has taken. I agree with Sarah on the role of the councillors, because even if you have a parliament which is NRM dominated and you pass a resolution that is wrong, sometimes we borrow from the company law of lifting the veil. Lifting the veil means in a company law, like the veil for the Catholic nun. When somebody is defrauding people using the company, you lift the and see who is actually this company. It's claiming to be a legal personality. It's not revealing itself. So you see who are the actors. So I was interested in this, and so if Parliament did that, would lift the veil and find out of 40 committee members, 35 are NRM, then would say it is you NRM who has done it. Yeah, because you, the 40 members in Parliament in this committee, 35 of you are NRM, so we should tell us why did you do this. So the noob, when you veil it, is actually the noob, 42 councillors. It is the noob councillors who did it. Now, some of them were arguing that the minister had a veto power under the law. Why didn't the minister veto? Then said, come on, did you pass the resolution for the minister to veto? How can you pass a resolution? Say, okay, let me pass and minister vetoes. I even said, look, you are even lucky that it's a noob-dominated council which passed it, and then even the NRM minister had the audacity to say, okay, if you passed it in the best interest of the country, I'm not going to veto. I'm going to allow your resolution to continue. And the minister did. So are they not happy that a noob councillor's resolution, where government had the chance to oppose, government said, you let it continue, up to the president.
So the president has also joined the noob.
If we are doing politicking, yeah, because if we were doing politicking, we would have opposed it and said, no, this is your resolution. It is a noob thing we don't want. But we thought or the government thought they had acted in good faith. And therefore we gave them the benefit of the doubt and did it. Now comes in the president. Therefore, the point the president came in, the president first of all would not want to micromanage, in that he thought at that level the procedural aspects will be taken, including technical evaluation, including all the experts' opinion at that level, including legal. So the president came in at a point where he thinks due diligence will be taken by various respective persons. A president would not micromanage. So for him, when he was approached by a developer, knowing that procedural aspects would be done, he said, fine, go ahead, since you can do it. Well, in all honesty, I've lived in Europe, in Geneva, for 8 years. I have not seen an open drainage. I now start to think that possibly they also do it like that. Therefore, the president's coming in to bless this. Would it have mattered whether the president had blessed Okello to do it, or Kurut to do it, or Abiriga to do it, or Tumweweza, or the problem is harm? If the resolution was duly taken by NUP councillors and government saw that they had acted in good faith and did not block it, and then any Mr. X was told to do it, and all due then procedures was done, because the president could not micromanage, I do not see anything wrong with that. Lukwago tried to block it by going to the Secretary General, and the Secretary General argued that it was a mere council resolution. Really? Lubongoya. Lukwago told him, said, please call your councillors to order. Lukwago ran to him, wrote to him, said, call your councillors to order. They are bringing a problem. They shouldn't do this. And the councillors, Lubongoya is on record saying, it's mere council resolution. Do we call it mere? Do we now close the council? Suppose NRM had blocked the resolution. It would be an uproar that because council is not respected because it is NUP dominated. But NRM told them, please go ahead. If you think you have made this decision in good faith, in the best interest of the country, we are not blocking it. Go ahead. So if the issue, that's why I'm saying, would it have mattered whether it was Kurut who came and said, I am willing, I have the money, or Kelo, or Tumwewaze, or whichever person. And at that person, if a one or Kurut or Kelo or Tumwewaze or a Birigad come and showed the money, the president would have okayed that person with assumption that he's not going to micromanage, especially in procedural aspects, KCC on the process. So I do not see what was wrong with that. Therefore, the KCC blame should be where it is fixed. Whichever intention or motivation or consciousness came to be formed in the 42 councillor NUP members, they should tell us.
And the NUP and the president
Yes.
endorsed the NUP.
Yeah, because why would we be? Because every time we are being told to block because we are doing politics.
I'll give you
Every time we are being told, if you do this, oh, because it is NUP, you hated NUP, or you block it because they have a different political persuasion.
Major, let me allow your two colleagues to actually raise the issue.
Hands for being a good spin doctor.
Yeah,
A good truth teller,
Mine is
just
the
a
question.
good truth teller, a good truth teller.
Let's allow Dr.
So now
Sarah.
your two questions
No,
was
Major,
mine
let
is-
Sarah
the
come in, then you
second
respond to the
question is
two
mine.
questions.
Assuming, and I agree with you that the councillors made a mistake,
thank you.
but in the same council resolution, the councillors said processes must be followed. We look at a developer that is armed. We look at soldiers or goons guarding the site and chasing away the KCC executive director and all the technocrats. Is that part of NUP making?
What you are raising, Sarah, is an assertion which must be founded and based with hearing the other side. This is your story.
It's
But
not my
to,
story.
to qualify that and reach a conclusion, you need to hear from the person that is being accused of coming with soldiers. Suppose he comes and said, tell me, where did I? So your assertion needs verification, so I can't comment about it. Now, your two standing questions
yes.
is compensation. Compensation
And accountability, of course.
compensation and accountability, particularly compensation, is a well-thought idea by government with a ministry for emergency cases. And also, apart from that, there are compensations which directly involve civil claims. Like if you find the negligence was from the part of government, then Attorney General would be liable. But if the compensation came at a time of flood, there's a ministry for that, and I think the guidelines are easy to be followed. So it is only the victims who should organize themselves and raise themselves into a claim, and it will be addressed. Now, if it is civil claims that you feel it is a liability of Attorney General, they should equally do the same, organize themselves and make a claim. Some claims are settled out of court. Not every claim should be litigated. So if the claim is so prima facie, Attorney General himself can just say, maybe we talk about the amount. The amount you're claiming is way above the. Can we have a valuer to evaluate your what? Sarah, you're a lawyer. Newspaper stories are not admissible. You're giving
But we are not in court.
You're giving me newspaper
We are not
stories.
in court here.
Newspaper stories is not admissible.
For the
Just
benefit of viewers, I am showing
He's
the
reading.
date and time when KCC officials were denied
No, you are
access
showing me an
to
online
Nachivubo
story.
channel
You-
access. But
So,
also the same was
yeah,
confirmed by the
you are
ED
saying the
last
story, yes,
night.
but can be verified.
No, but
The ED said herself she was blocked.
You know,
I was with her last night.
this is not an isolated case.
Yeah.
Remember, even when they were investigating the Ruboa hospital saga, where more than $1 trillion has been sunk and nothing has been done, the members of parliament were denied entry. Even the minister was denied entry. So this business of
let's allow me to
compensation. So those are procedural aspects which are clear. If it is a disaster compensation related, the ministry is there. So what I would advise now is that the victims should form themselves, outline their claims, and present it. If it is a civil claims that borders civil liability, where the negligence is caused by the Attorney General, by government, then it will be addressed as such. I'd already said that not all claims must be litigated in court. Attorney General can agree to set out of.
I think we're running out of time, but I just want you to also
The
talk about the
second one-
encroachments, high-profile encroachers seemingly being protected, whereas we see on one hand government claiming that it is actually against encroachment. And we see a contradiction here. How do you resolve this contradiction?
Encroachment, if it is against the law, it is bad and must be condemned. And I think at one point, Honorable Otafire did to Nyakana. Nyakana was encroaching in a wetland, and Otafire refused. So if it is still coming through our fingers that there are people who claim to be...
From what Sarah just said, what harm has done is an outright
Yes,
act
that's
of
what I'm
encroachment.
saying. If it is true that our society is still manifesting what you call high-level encroachers who are going with impunity, that is absurd, and we should call ourselves in order as a party, as a government, to say, since we don't tolerate it, we should mean what we say and say what we mean. So it's not anything to be praised, to be supported. It must be condemned. And therefore, if it is an emerging issue, if there are people who are going out of impunity, it's not good, and therefore should be to the party to tell the government, the line government, because somehow if you check through our manifesto will either through governance system condemn such act, and therefore we should call upon the line government organ to come bring them to order.
Well, thank you. It's actually time for the first segment of our conversation on the integrity of the Tanzania elections and the Kampala floods. Let's take a break and then we return and shift focus now to the Tanzania elections. Of course, I'll still allow you, I'll give your rebuttals to this KCCA Kampala flood situation. Also, in the second segment, we shall be joined by Honorable George Stephen Odongo, member of the East African Legislative Assembly. We shall also hear, of course, his thoughts briefly on this Kampala floods before we move to our southern neighbor, Tanzania. That's after the break.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create, and publish digital media or to access and use computers, other electronic devices, and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back from the break, and we're happy that you're still with us here on the Citizens Chat Show. We're continuing with our conversation on the integrity of the Tanzania elections and the Kampala floods, but in the first segment, we've been discussing largely the Kampala floods. And you can also see that we've expanded. We have more company. Honorable George Stephen Odongo, member of the East African Legislative Assembly, joining us in this segment. Honorable, you're most welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
But you've been following the conversations from backstage, and I also like to hear your 2 cents on this Kampala flood disaster that we've been talking about.
Well, first of all, this is not the first time we're experiencing floods in Kampala. Kampala's problem is more than just the floods. The floods is an expression of what is happening in Kampala. Development follows planning, but you don't plan after development. So the problem in Kampala is that the planning is following development. So you first have people developing and then you come and say we need to change course. That's not the way it is. And this has been going on for a long time. Now, I am a student of management, and there is a management guru called Drucker. He once said that he has written that culture eats strategy for breakfast. That culture is so powerful that it does not matter your strategy, your plans, as long as a certain organization has built a culture around it. That culture will destroy whatever plans, whatever strategy you have. So over the years, there is a huge culture that has cropped up. It's a culture of impunity.
That's what I was thinking, exactly, yeah.
It's a culture of impunity. It's a culture of not following procedures. Our institutions are becoming weaker every single day. We pass laws, but nobody respects them. This is for both ordinary citizens and even those
in positions of decision making.
So it's a whole mess that requires a very high level of soberness on both sides, really. That we need to calm down and begin to, because I don't see any reason why a law-abiding citizen, if I'm to go by the media reports and what Sarah said initially, that the harm chased away the KCCA and Chester Way. I think for me, that was the lowest moment, because it does not matter who you are. There are institutions and agencies that are mandated by government, by the laws, to supervise, to do quality controls on behalf of the citizens. They are empowered by the citizens under the law to do oversight. So if they come to a site like that one, I think they,
On a public facility.
yeah, I think it is within and the public is right, you know, to say that was really disrespectful. For me, if I was the KCCA director, I would have really gone ahead to appeal to the highest authority, because in spite of the president's letter, again, let me say this, that the president's letter is his opinion. It is supposed to be subjected to a due process. And that's why you had the Honorable Awich here saying, you know, the KCCA approved. That's one part. I don't want to go there. But for me, I'm saying the president's letter, the president's opinion, should be subjected to a due process. All the institutions and agencies that are involved in the development of Kampala should have an opinion on the position of the president on this matter, and advise right back to the president before any implementation starts. And once the implementation starts, those agencies that are empowered by the law to monitor, to supervise, to do oversight on behalf of the ordinary citizens are supposed to be given the opportunity to do that.
But the supreme authority on that matter, which is NEMA,
They have not approved.
not approved.
No, I want to give information.
Yes.
NEMA gave a certificate to that company on 3rd of August, of October. It is on record. They gave them a certificate, and in fact, people are asking them, how did you give a certificate?
NEMA gives the certificate with
The
conditions.
ED, the
They
ED
did.
said they
With
have not
conditions.
approved.
Maybe it's withdrawing
They
the
did.
letter.
If I'm to go by the media report, the ED said
They have not approved.
they were still undertaking.
Okay.
They were still undertaking an impact assessment, an environmental impact assessment on the project. They neither said nor yes. They were basically opinion neutral.
But
And
Meaning they
said,
did not approve.
and
Maybe
said
the doctor could tell us what was the
continued.
letter saying.
What did the letter of
the president's letter,
The NEMA.
In
NEMA.
fact, the letter was based on a 5-year. They looked at it in 5 years, what would be the impact. And they said what they have given them is not dangerous.
but
And they should
also
go.
reading the president's letter again, Sarah, from what you read earlier, the paragraph 2, when the president says, allow him to cover the channel after cleaning it and strengthening it, the president is not inviting technocrats to actually weigh in and say, what do you think as NEMA? What do you think as physical planners? So in essence, it's actually making a sweeping endorsement of the proposal that Ham made to cover the channel.
He's giving a directive.
Yeah, but that does not waive away the processes.
That's
It's not a waiver.
you see.
It's not.
You see, practice. You never go to big cities and see an open channel going through the cities.
Yeah.
So it is covered. So when the president says allow him to cover the channel,
No, I've seen
After
it's
clearing
it's simply saying this
and
is, in my
strengthening.
opinion, it is good. Even if you read the details, he says
there are some cities with open channels.
that people are throwing
Majority
there's
of them.
indiscipline.
majority are open.
Majority
Yeah.
are open.
But there is the indiscipline of throwing.
I think
of
the
throwing-
Dutch, in most cases, for the Dutch canals, that they have
They're open.
most of their channels.
Most of their channels are open.
I've been in
Yeah,
China.
it's open.
I have been.
Most channels are open, even
But,
in the
but
US.
you read the president's letter very well. He indicates where the problem is.
Yeah, the
Throwing
fact that the channel
rubbish.
is open invites people to throw in rubbish, including
Which blocks?
plastics,
Yeah.
feces, etc., all of which disgust the people.
Basically,
The
that's-
people contiguous to the channel
Yes.
lead to blockages of the channel and flooding.
So
Well, the
after
problem
that,
is-
wait, after that, then these other agencies and institutions needed to look at the implications.
And that is when NEMA
Okay,
came in.
that's when now NEMA came in and said.
But they have not approved.
But
Judge, finish.
They
Yeah,
are-
let him carry on.
no. I am not telling you whether they have approved.
Yeah.
I am simply telling you the institutions of government needed to have given what's his name? HAM. Yeah? Clearance. NEMA, KCC, and all the other agencies.
So did they give him the clearance?
Does he
That's
care?
what I'm telling you, that the problem we're having is
The impunity, the culture of
culture
impunity
of
is what he's
impunity.
talking about, which we
Because
need to get away
under normal
from.
circumstances, no matter how good that project was, who?
Institutions should
The
have had a
institutions
say.
should have first cleared it before he started constructing. By the way, he could even be having a brilliant idea. Okay? But if the institutions, because what I heard yesterday is that they blocked the channel, because you can't construct one at the same time. You get it?
Yeah.
They blocked the channel. Had he engaged
The
all these
experts.
other institutions, they would have said, before you block, do A, B, C, D. You see, those are the mistakes we are making. And that's why I'm saying the impunity, because you don't care the consequences. Until we have consequences for people who do not obey and respect the law, we are going to continue seeing these things going on. And there is no way we can
So
defend
in
it.
this case, this impunity you appropriate it to who?
How?
In this case,
Institution.
All
impunity,
this,
you appropriate it to
He's
who?
talked
I've
about
told
everyone
you.
across the
I've
board.
told you that there is a culture that has cropped in. That culture is the one that has
So
predisposed
Can I
us.
give you an
in this
answer?
specific
Can I give you an answer?
scenario, wait, in this specific scenario, under these circumstances of this culture that you have been, that has cropped up, who do you appropriate the impunity in this case of Lachubo Saga?
I have told you that had
Be
harm,
specific.
and that's what I'm telling you, that had harm followed due process, had he followed due process, we would not be where we are. But because there is a culture of impunity where people get away with everything, you see,
Who in
so
this case?
so nobody cares.
He has
Can
explained
I
it. He
answer?
has
Can I
actually
answer?
explained it.
Can I try to give an answer?
Okay.
Yesterday at night, I was traveling and I found a vehicle had no number plate, but in the number plate they had put the picture of the president. The picture of the president in uniform. It was in Chalwajala. So I tell the traffic officer that before you harass us, that man has no number plate. You capture him. That man, he has no number plate. The only thing that is there is a picture of the president. There is no number plate. He told me, who am I to argue with the state? The impunity in this country, if you look at all the trouble we have had, Odongo forest, by the way, is almost done. And many other areas. And it is on instruction of the president. NEMA, in fact, why NEMA has now become weak is that in most cases it has been disregarded. It gave advice on Luera, they were disregarded. I saw NEMA struggling with the Chinese on Luera, and the soldiers chased away the NEMA people and the Luera. So the impunity in this country, if so long as you are connected to the presidency, you can do anything in this country.
The culture. George talks about Sarah.
He can call it a culture, but for me,
Yeah.
the impunity stems from the
Just
presidency.
conclude and then Dr.
But
Sarah
you have to
comes
be
in.
specific, even Chabrani, you don't say president. So
No,
these days-
those are jargons.
So when you say presidency, which president do you
The president of the Republic of Uganda.
The capital P.
I have said, and I will insist on this. So many people will feel uncomfortable about it, but we have brought it upon ourselves. It starts small and it builds. It's like a snowball. You start by small mistakes, and then we
Turn a blind
we
eye.
rationalize them. We say, oh no, it's because of this. Oh, we know it's because of that, and so on and so forth. Because we think it's politics. It's not. This is public service. Okay? This is public service. It is neither red, nor yellow, nor blue. That channel serves everybody. So, the culture that has been, you know, what has happened in Kampala, and basically it is going almost all over, is that whoever has an opportunity to get a blue letter whatsoever abuses it.
Thank you.
They overstretch the implications of that blue letter.
Why is the
And
letter
they run
given?
roughshod on all the institutions.
Why is the letter given?
see?
It's where we should question first.
Wait a minute. This is not
The
the
giver.
the president. The president gives those letters with very good intentions. You can read even from his communication. He has good intentions, but they have got to be subjected. This is not the first time, by the way, that the president has issued those letters. And when they are abused, he comes around and says, I give those letters to the respective authorities so that those who are there should process them. They should be subjected to the due process. So the president expresses an opinion like we have,
Allow him finish. Allow him finish.
and he does it in good
Honorable,
faith.
allow honorable finish.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Mm.
I've been there. Please, I've been there.
Mhm.
You don't call a directive of the president an opinion. That this is an opinion of a person. Please, I've been there.
The directive of the
When-
president is subjected.
please,
It's an opinion.
please.
Please.
When the president pens something down
It's policy.
and I say I direct.
When it is approved by
You get my point?
They don't have to.
Let George not
It's an
deceive us here.
What is the
I have been there. I've been that.
Honorable Banyenzaki,
I've been that office.
read the letter. What does it say?
Excuse me. I've been
Allow
The
there.
reference.
him.
The reference, not the reference.
The reference.
Excuse me. I've
Because
been-
when it's a directive,
George, you
directive.
know it.
Yes.
I've been
Even
in
if it
that
is a
office.
directive, it remains.
I've been in that office, working direct under the president. When the president gives you a blue letter, you implement. You don't subject his opinion. To subject it, if you looked at it and you want to subject it to do, you have to go back and say, sir, this one, can you change it? But if you say no, do it.
You can't
You cannot say
question.
that this is an opinion of the president and you are telling a desk officer in NEMA to what do you call it?
To subject
To
it
subject his own
to
opinion.
scrutiny.
To scrutinize.
No. That's not
It
the way
doesn't
works.
bypass
No, no, no,
No, it
procedures.
doesn't
No,
bypass
no.
procedure. Please,
No,
please.
no, no, no,
Honorable
no.
Banyenzaki.
No.
That's what I've told
Are
you.
we-
The problem is the culture.
No, say yes.
Yeah, the problem is the
That one I
culture.
agree with you.
And
The
that's
problem
what he
is
has
the-
insisted
that's
on,
what- The
yeah.
problem is the culture.
Yes.
Under normal circumstances, I'm telling you this. Whatever letter comes from the president, okay? The president expresses his opinion about something, okay?
Mhm.
And puts it in a letter to the prime minister, like he has written there.
Oh.
Why is he writing to the prime minister?
To direct,
You get it?
Is
Then,
that-
what does the prime minister do?
implement the directive. Of
How
the
does he
president.
implement?
The way they have told you.
Yeah. What is the implementation procedure?
You can imagine.
Nema,
Yes,
what,
there's
all
an
those.
implementation
If that
procedure.
letter comes to my office, I'm
So
the minister.
therefore, from what you're
Just a
saying,
minute. If that letter comes
Sorry.
to me, I'm the minister for Kampala, and the president said, allow him. Do I say now, this is an opinion of the president, and then say, Mr. President, I weighed in, I disallowed him?
No. Allowing him means give his proposal a chance.
I
and subject
approve.
it.
Let's go to the actual wording, the conclusion. I approve of the plan.
help
Help him to execute.
Help him.
Help him.
Help him.
Hey,
To execute.
Help
Facilitate
him
it,
means
yes.
follow
Follow
procedure.
procedure. Follow
I
procedure.
approve. He has
Help
not
him
approved.
means
So are we
follow
saying,
procedure.
so from everything that and you are the people who
He has
are
approved.
putting policy into practice, are we saying the mistakes we are seeing affecting ordinary citizens probably comes to the lack of correct interpretation of, because just from you guys here, you are interpreting the same letter differently, but you're policy experts
When the
and
president,
legislators.
when the president says, I have approved, you, the minister, you implement what the president has approved.
So where's the
Judith,
problem
let me
now?
give
The
you
word
Even in
help
Nema,
is
you are-
idle and
if-
redundant.
yeah.
Judith,
Even
let me
Nema-
give you an example.
Even name as the authority,
word there.
even the name as the authority, their hands are tied.
Judith, let
Even
me give
the
you an
KCC
example.
executive
So
director,
this is
his
quite a
hands is tied.
subjective
No.
statement that that is at the mercy of
It-
everyone's, whoever you choose to interpret this whichever way you
Judith,
want.
let me give you a live example.
I want to hear from Sarah. Sarah is smiling. I don't know what is coming.
I served on a council.
Yes.
I served on a council of a university, and the president directed that council to give land to a certain Indian. And after subjecting the letter to a number of things, we discovered, yes, the president wished the Indian the land, but he did not qualify to implement whatever he was, because the Indian wanted to construct a mattress industry. And in the plan of the university, they had no construction.
It could not accommodate.
Development which is supposed to take there should be development that is facilitating research, learning, and the community development. So the council rejected the idea. One of the members of council was arguing that a presidency letter is a directive, and therefore you cannot argue about it. So we took it for interpretation.
Where?
To the Solicitor General. And the Solicitor General said that was the opinion of the president. Follow the process.
So what did you do?
We did not give
Rejected.
the land to
Yes. How did you reply the letter?
We didn't even
What
reply.
did you do?
We just said the award is not going to be successful.
Yeah.
We didn't mind about the president.
You didn't
So
reply to the
interpretation.
This is
president.
what I'm telling you.
So
that
people
the
not knowing what
president
they're supposed to do.
expresses an opinion.
So
He
institutions
puts it
in
in
most
writing,
cases
in
don't know what to
writing.
do.
And that's why the president says
Institutions and
I-
individuals in those
The problem is the
institutions,
culture of
Dr. Sarah.
impunity.
So the problem is the death of institutions.
Yes.
These presidents' blue letters, which fly like mosquitoes everywhere, have killed institutions. People don't know how to treat them, and he does not allow institutions to do their work. So then that's the same example of KCCA. Because last night we had the executive day. The council makes a preliminary approval, but with an underliner, work with the KCCA and other institutions. So even as much as we say Noop Council has made a mistake, they also did not give a blanket approval.
There were safeguards,
There was
conditions.
a disclaimer. So KCCA comes in and says fine. They invite the private developer, who is also known. Because ideally, if KCCA made a resolution, because they said KCCA should identify the private developer to work with to develop the channel following other processes. They did not even mention harm. But the private developer was already identified, no advertising. So the KCCA said, bring your plans for approval. KCCA has never received the plans.
Will never receive.
The site, as it caused floods in the city, there is no qualified engineer. Yesterday we saw the statement from the Association of Engineers. None of their members works with HAM. So HAM has quack engineers. The reason he hired goons to block supervision and oversight. Because he's waving a blue letter and
Impunity.
the
The
chief
culture of impunity, the death of institutions.
Soldiers are deployed. Now comes in the UPDF. What are soldiers doing? Guarding the illegal conduct of harm. KCCA also told harm process. There is. Because KCCA has the title. Apply for this. There is in process. Meaning that harm's presence on the channel is illegal. The construction is illegal. No approval of KCCA, no plans available, no engineer, nothing. And then you flood the city. You kill people's businesses. You cause death. Traders, by the way, these traders, if we don't raise our voice as people, We are going even to reach 30 deaths of these traders out of
Some who have
districts.
even died in the
I need us to
See?
move. I want us to
Moderator,
move.
the
I
disciplined
want us to
NRM like us are waiting for the
fast
flow
for
of discussion.
Tanzania. Yes, I want
Now,
us
if
to
you
move very
don't
quickly.
let it flow, for us, you shall keep quiet
So my
waiting for
conclusion
Yes.
when you'll tell us to talk.
harm belongs behind bars.
Mhm.
Even the president's letter does not create a defense for his impunity.
Thank you.
By the way, let me, one thing on his
Just very quickly.
directive.
Yes.
When they got the directive, they went to the Attorney General.
Solicitor General.
The Solicitor General. Solicitor General or Attorney General?
Solicitor
Solicitor.
General.
Solicitor General.
Yes.
Who works under the Attorney General.
Yes.
In essence, he went back to the executive authority.
Which is okay.
For
And for
interpretation.
interpretation.
okay.
Yes.
And all of these guys, when you send this kind of letter to them, they go back to him for further consultation.
Except in this case, they didn't. They told them what they were supposed to do, which was lawful.
I am telling you.
Yeah,
the
because
system-
So under, like George
the system,
said,
the way it
under
works.
normal circumstances,
Because for me,
this is how
my
things should
argument
work.
in that meeting was that the president does not give land in a
Okay,
university.
I need us to move. I need us to move.
But you had said that you're going to give us round of say.
Okay, yeah,
And then
sorry,
you left
sorry,
other
sorry,
people
Major,
to
sorry.
Oh, he didn't come in and
Sorry,
explain it
yes.
and
Major.
explaining.
Yeah.
So I apologize, really, I do.
Give him an opportunity.
No, let him
He's going to give
respond.
his opinion.
Yeah, me, I first want to respond to my good doctor, and today
You
by
have two
thanking
doctors.
him,
This one, okay.
because today he has really believed like an honest academic. One, he has insisted that Nema gave a letter. We even asked for the interpretation. He gave us. He said Nema actually interpretation is summaries that Nema okayed it.
I
Okay.
have information on
Yes,
the 3rd
so
of
the
October.
doctor is
Okay.
really behaving a true academic. Now, if we cover such institutions, then we are covering the road. Instead, what we should be questioning, how did NEMA reach this rationale? Was it genuine? Is it okay? Were they bribed? But it is good to point that NEMA said it's okay.
Wait, that later.
Two, the doctor also went ahead to clearly state the position of the letter, which in my own word, I had said the president doesn't micromanage. When he writes such a letter, he knows that other due processes will go on. That was in my packaging, micromanaging. He is saying due processes, which is the same. So I am glad that the doctor said they asked the Solicitor General. Solicitor General, in essence, is saying follow procedures. The president has said it. I mean, would it mean, therefore, because the president has said that in this one, remember the operative word is help.
Help, yeah.
Help means follow procedures to ensure I achieve the objective. If the procedures doesn't allow him to achieve, then be it. And he would tell Ham that I had forwarded you, but you don't meet the criteria. So what do you want me to do? You want me to force Nema to say your thing is okay? So I thank the doctor. Finally, is that yes, you deserve it. Thank you.
You're
behaved
welcome.
like an
You're
honest academic.
Yes.
Yeah,
then
I'm not
finally,
honest. I'm just like.
just on the to summarize it on the point of institutions, because if we don't say what each institution did and we cover it up, then how shall we correct it? We should clearly state the role an institution of NEMA did. We should clearly state the role an institution like the council did, covering their roles and misdeeds or deeds, whether misdeeds or deeds, won't help us. They did their role, and we know where their role is leading us.
Well, thank you. Let's now cross to Tanzania. And we are not going to have a lot of time.
At long last.
Of course, last Wednesday, Tanzania went to the polls. And on Monday this week, we saw the incumbent, Samia Hassan Suluhu, being sworn in. We're told she won by 98%. She won the vote with 98% of the votes cast. But we also saw the chaotic scenes, the protests that characterized Tanzania on polling day, and also the tension and contestations that continue to play out across the country, even after her swearing in. And we've also seen the African Union deployed 72 election observers, and in their report, they concluded that the vote did not comply with AU principles for democratic elections and that the environment was not conducive to peaceful conduct and acceptance of the electoral outcomes. Also, SADC had similar findings in their report. So I want us to, of course, unpack these findings or these reports by these election observation groups. But again, I want to start with you two gentlemen.
East Africa.
Who were there?
Who were there? We weren't. We were following things on TV, online, and on different platforms. But Major, you were there. You actually traveled before the election day. George, did you travel before the election as well?
Yes.
Yes. So you were on the ground. What was your experience? What did you see? What did you hear?
Put a disclaimer, they were guests of the candidate.
Thank you very much. They were,
No.
George, you are not.
At
George
least
was
the other
not.
one.
George was not a guest, but Major was a guest of President Samia Suluhu. Let's start with you.
Yeah, indeed, I was a guest of President Dr. Samia Suluhu.
Yeah, read the
Very
doctor.
prim.
The basis of the invitation is that best practices, international best practices are growing, that if you're a political party and you're going to be involved in a campaign, you choose your peers, you call your friends to say, hey, come and see what I'm doing. I'm being transparent. In any case, you are my friend, you are my peer. It is you who it is an immunity criticize me. So friends invite friends. So it is on the ground that NRM was invited and I took up the task. And I think towards the end of this month or beginning of December, I'll do the same. I invite friends to come and see our campaign. I'll do it. So it is on that basis that CCM invited me to go and see what they're doing. They said they are transparent, they may be wrong. So please come and see. So I went. Now, I was there for 10 days. And I was in Dar es Salaam, attended the president's rally. We flew to Zanzibar. I attended our rally again. I was with her in the rally. Flew back to Dar es Salaam. Then we flew to Mwanza at the source of Lake Victoria. And I was teasing the Tanzanians that if I was Jesus, I would walk on this water up to Entebbe. We attended our rally as well. So I had the opportunity to attend 3 rallies. Now, what I could see from the rally is that the CCM organized their rally very professionally. Issues are raised. They are not partitioned. They don't talk about people. They don't talk about the opponents, except those who crossed from other parties who came and spoke. They were given chance to speak. Security arrangement was like any other security, just to check due diligence of security where the president is, also for the safety of the public. The rally was good. In all the rallies I attended, the town where the rally was peaceful. There was no violence at all. So I attended the rally. Now comes the voting day. I was there. I was in Mwanza partly and flew back to Dar es Salaam. Partly, so I spent the voting day in 2 cities, Mwanza city and Dar es Salaam city. It was peaceful. I was sleeping in a hotel on floor 26. 26th floor, if you're in Sheraton in Kampala, you can basically see Munyonyo or Wakiso, Mukono, possibly Mukono, because it's so high. So I saw there was no burning at all. From there, you could even see if a border was being burned, you'd see it. I never saw anything. If I say they saw violence and burning, and somebody cross-examined me, you said you saw violence. Where did you see it? What was happening? Can you describe? Can you describe? You know, if you tell a lie is exposed in the cross-examination. I never saw any violence.
You were in which hotel?
Because I know
that.
Reno something hotel.
In Dar es Salaam.
In Dar es Salaam.
It's in the affluent part of Dar es Salaam.
Yeah. But I'm saying it was so high because I could basically see Ugandan embassy. I could locate it because a day before Ugandan embassy had independence celebration. And I'd gone to the Ugandan embassy for the celebration. They had belated celebration. So you could see. So if you saw a burning border, you could really see that border is burning. I never. And as I said, if I told a lie, it would be seen. Now, this brings me to the point of media, because people were ringing me, wondering whether I'm dead or alive. I said, but there's nothing wrong here. So I am really put myself to the test of social media. People were ringing me from Uganda, including my family, whether I'm alive or not, that the place was on fire. Nothing. The only thing I saw when I was coming to the airport, and with no convoy, by the way, because you may think I had just one Land Cruiser, the type I'm driving here, I saw broken glasses of the busway. You know, they built their busway where they are waiting places. Meaning, I saw it in some point, meaning that there would have been some days back, maybe somebody, demonstration. Even the Al Jazeera fire was seen. It was the same fire being repeated. Whether it was burned somewhere, Al Jazeera kept recycling it. Now, the only thing I saw, and which I told them as a comrade, is that I question to what extent do you, as a party, use your judiciary system? Because there are things that you could choose to ignore and things that you could. For example, 2 leading opposition party leaders are, through judiciary system, they are disqualified. So I wondered, because I said, for example, in Uganda, we had reached a point that Noob should not put on kofia or whatever it is, but there are things you ignore and let pass. So I just questioned them and on the use of judicial processes in a democratic process. Because do you choose to ignore other things, or do you follow the law to the letter? Because to me, that is the only underlying thing. But I can assure you that whatever CCM has done and the research that I did is that CCM would still have won this election, even without those judicial processes of the rest.
Even if they had not locked out the 2 opposition politicians.
Yes, the election to me went on peacefully. Well, I did not see any burning of even a border.
Thank you.
And I've been in the mainland and in Zanzibar.
Okay, thank you. George.
If George saw burning, maybe so.
What was your experience? What did you see? What did you hear?
You see, I live partly in Tanzania.
And you were in Arusha,
so
I assume.
It's not about just the election day. I think for me, I would rather give a broader context of the Tanzanian political landscape. And just to tell you that what happened in this election was unprecedented. Essentially because Tanzania has for a long time, been a very peaceful country. So they have a culture of peace. So nobody expected that there would be this kind of tensions and so on. Even when there were indications that, of course, through social media, that there were plans
violence to flare up
for people to boycott elections on account of course, there were those that, if you follow Tanzanian politics very closely, preceding the elections, there was, of course, the arrest of Tundu Lissu and the others. And Tundu Lissu within his party had mobilized his group to say there should be no elections until there are electoral reforms. But there were people within the party like Mbowe who said, no, let us go for the elections. So even within his own party, there were tensions. 2 different tendencies, those that were for elections and those that were against the elections on account of reforms. So Tanzania, and I want to be as restrained as possible because I do not want to touch on some of the things that I am not supposed to talk about. But Tanzania is a country that for a long time, even after Nyerere built CCM as a very robust political organization that has a very strong grassroots presence. In fact, it is very difficult to draw a line between CCM and the government of Tanzania.
Their hand and glove.
State capture.
Their hand and glove.
So when you talk about the Tanzanian politics, it's largely talking about CCM politics. It impacts on everything almost. So what happened this time was really out of step with what the Tanzanian people are and what used to happen within the Tanzanian politics. Now, I think from my own observation, you see the sudden death of President Magufuli that ushered in President Suluhu Samia had not prepared Tanzanians. I mean, death is that cruel, so it doesn't prepare population. So I think in a way, it kind of rattled the CCM political establishment. Something that they were not prepared for, because I could, if you look at the CCM, you'll see that Magufuli was already going for his last term, and there are already indications within CCM as to who would be
The next president.
in the queue, who are the immediate people in the queue. And there were, I'm comfortable to talk about this one. There were indications that the current president of Zanzibar was being prepared, Mwinyi, because he was then under Magufuli, Minister of Defense, he was Minister, I think, of Internal Affairs, and so on and so forth. He was being prepared to take over, like it was the case with Nkapa and the others. So when Magufuli died, it definitely changed.
No, but I find it interesting, George, that a party that has been in power for 64 years cannot have possible scenarios of what could happen. How do you handle power and transition in different kinds of scenarios?
No, they managed the transition. As you can see, that the transition from Magufuli to Suluhu was seamless, except that there were undercurrents. Like I told you, that there were already indicators as to who. So there were people who were positioning themselves along that power transition, but that didn't happen. So Mama Suluhu, when she came into power, she had to establish her own political base within CCM, because remember, she was the vice president. So I'm just giving you this from my own analysis, and I could be wrong. So Mama Suluhu had to establish her own power base within CCM. And of course, naturally, there could have been those who are not inclined to her presidency, who thought that from the alignment, the previous alignment, they would have been in the other queue. So there were tensions already within the CCM establishment, and that really fed into the environment going into this particular election. So for the last 4 years, Mama Suluhu has been struggling with building her own political base while preparing herself for the campaigns.
We have 10 minutes.
So that, for me...
For him alone?
No, all of us.
No, that for me could have been part of the tensions going into this other. It fed into the tensions that built within the CCM, and definitely
permeated to the wider population.
To the wider population.
Okay.
Yes.
Honorable Banyenzaki.
Judith is very brilliant.
Understood.
The question was, what did you see?
I have told you that if you ask me about what I saw, then it will just be an event.
An event, yeah, but he
Okay.
said he lives.
Now that
he is part
anyway,
of the society.
Yes, I'm part of the
and basically, what he has given you is an ethnographic
Anyway, let me
And he's a
explanation.
diplomat.
If I may
Yes.
question,
Yes.
if I may question, I think it is not fair for George to just merely take us through the history.
The history.
Can you take us to the present? What happened on 29th, 1st and 2nd?
But then let me,
Okay,
George,
so-
George is a diplomat.
No, yes, tell us. He's Uganda's representative in EALA.
Let the Honorable Banyenzaki. I am
Honorable,
ceding my time.
Honorable.
I am ceding my time. to
No, we
Honorable
have.
Banyenzaki.
Remember, we also have
So
10
that you
minutes
can-
to share.
George is my friend.
Yes.
Let Honorable
Understand the
Banyenzaki
context very well, by
Yes.
the way. Because George is an East African diplomat, homicide in Arusha.
Yes.
So you cannot come here and start giving a critique scenario of what is happening in Arusha. When he goes back, he will be questioned. So the best thing he will say,
Thank you very much.
so we don't task him. But of course, for Awich to come and tell us, when the president herself, on the swearing day, before the swearing day, after the swearing day, acknowledged the demonstrations all over the country, and Awich comes up here, they say there was nothing at all.
Didn't see.
He did not. They will say there was nothing.
I said I didn't see it. And
They-
I said if you cross-examine me, I will be telling a lie.
Not saying anything, is saying that there was nothing.
Mhm.
It is one and the same.
Were you
So-
there on swearing in day as well, Monday?
No.
Okay.
The man was in
Honorable,
Musasani.
he was back here.
So, you know, anyway, back to Tanzania for me, they are not encumbered. You see, what is developing in Tanzania is very unfortunate. On this platform, again, before, I was praising Tanzania. But do I put a disclaimer that there are some tendencies that they are also learning bad manners. They are getting influenced by what is happening in some countries, in Africa and neighboring countries. Little did I know that it's going to happen within a few weeks, and it happened. Of course, what we see in Tanzania is very unfortunate, and it is not something that we should not glorify. We should not glorify the way CCM have, or the president has treated the opposition leader, Tundu Lissu.
All of them.
Okay, all of them. It's not something to be glorified about. Yes, correct, CCM would have won. But CCM would have won if it would have won by maybe 70% or 75%, it would have won.
Maybe by
And
53%.
maybe it would win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is why
Magufuli won by 53%
he
the first
won,
time.
and he took the country ahead
Yeah.
without any violence, without anything.
58.
Museveni is going to
58.
win. He won before by 59%, 69%.
Yeah, we require
This time-
50 plus 1.
This time maybe he will win by again 65. But if you have these kind of people around him to tell him you do everything wrong so that you win by 99%, and Uganda goes to the frame, that would be absolutely wrong. He can, NRM Museveni will win.
But not by 90.
Not by 90 and not by 80, not even
Not
by
by
not
70.
even by 70.
Not even
It will
60.
be in 60 there. So those who want this country to be burnt to the flames will tell him, cramp down this opposition. And I'm very glad that these elections have gone relatively very well.
The campaign.
It is different from the other one. I think some clear-minded people told him, let's go in this campaign, let's have it. And so, what's happened in Tanzania is very unfortunate. And my brother, he says he was there, He did not see any demonstration. He did not
From
see
where he was, yeah.
from where he was in the tourist in the tourist tower. He saw the whole of Dar es Salaam.
But it also makes sense if you are a
But,
visitor and you were staying in a place like Serena and
Kororo.
there was Okololo
No,
and there was a
Musasani
riot
is
happening,
like
you
Kololo.
wouldn't also
No,
actually realize.
You are in
Musasani is
Serena.
like Kololo.
Yes, you
Madam,
wouldn't.
you are in Serena, in the tourist tower that sees Mukono, that sees Wakiso, that sees Entebbe, that sees everywhere, and demonstrations are happening everywhere, and you say for you did not see them.
You didn't.
Maybe on that day the sunglasses were very dark. And
But you remember when the Chief Justice failed to read?
So
When
anyway,
he was giving a judgment on the case the other time, and he had to give another person to read for
because he
him.
could not read.
He would not read.
That's when you understand.
Thank you.
So before you give Sarah, what happened in Tanzania is not good for our region, is not good for Africa, and I think in the spirit of our beautified soul, Nyerere, they are letting down the Nyerere spirit. Because this is not the democracy or this is not the
Before there was
Tanzania
something like a
that
curfew or
Nyerere
public holiday.
envisaged.
There was no movement. There was
Nyerere
nobody.
envisaged
There was
peaceful
no movement.
Tanzania, peaceful Tanzanian people, a good and it is
From
now
the voting
opened up
day
to
to the next day.
Yeah.
I think
So
no
it's very
movement,
unfortunate.
nobody.
It should be condemned. It should not be, because even EU has condemned it.
Even AU.
AU,
Eh,
SADC,
AU.
EU as well.
SADC.
SADC, yeah.
And then, no.
Did the EAC
AU,
have a
which
choice?
Yes, they said it was okay.
AU.
Yeah, because
led by
I've been
Kasim.
looking for the report,
They pointed out
but they did
the
not come out
EAC
as
the EAC
strongly
the
as
EAC
the
pointed
other.
out the gaps
So
in
and
the
also
and
and
recommendations.
also, Mr. Witch, don't misrepresent my NRM party. I don't think that NRM, your opinion, because you went there on NRM, you are not a guest. You as an
But
individual.
he also
It
told
was NRM that was invited. So we don't need to say NRM endorses.
Sarah.
Well, first of all, there was no election in Tanzania. The people who genuinely turned up to vote, maybe in Zanzibar, those ones voted. But on Tanganyika or the mainland, voting stopped by 10 a.m. when the protest started. And the rest of what happened was a ballot stuffing, like we've all seen videos by now. Barbaric ballot stuffing, even mentioned by Toothless AU. By the time AU, which had just congratulated Paul Biya, by the time they point out issues in Tanzania, you know that it is beyond, and nobody should stage manage a cover up. The AU statement mentioned the ballot stuffing, it mentions the violence, it mentions the lack of freedoms for opposition. It was a one-woman contestation, Samia versus Suhuru. The Suruhu, there was nothing else. So whether we want to be diplomatic, I don't think we can be more diplomatic than AU. If we want to be cooperative, I don't think we should go beyond SADC. SADC mentions these issues. So why should we cover them up in Uganda? If you look at other statements like ANC, they are very clear. They didn't witness anything. There was nothing. So when you see, these are friendly countries and cooperations to Tanzania. So what needs to be done? One is that there is a rift developing between Zanzibaris and the mainland population. The mainland population think Zanzibaris are killing them, led by the president who is from Zanzibar, led by most of the people doing the abductions and killings. As we sit here on this show today, the head of Chadema and his two deputies are in jail, and a host of other people, including a former minister that was abducted.
In fact, Sarah,
by
the
CCM.
head is in jail, but the others are in abduction.
Yes. including a former minister, stroke a former ambassador, that was former abducted, now in custody, in support of CCM. So when you have these violations, the killings are estimated at a minimum of 700. Today afternoon, we had an extraordinary council meeting of the East Africa Civil Society Forum, and we were listening from members from Tanzania chapter who come from both. One comes from the island, Zanzibar, another one from the mainland, and our secretariat, which is in the mainland. People are just picking bodies from the streets. So when somebody says nothing, we didn't see, no, pregnancy cannot be hidden with hands. If there are problems in Tanzania, I think even EALA should be the first agency. The protocol, the principles of the protocol. EALA must protect the principles in the East African Treaty, read by democracy, read by peaceful coexistence.
Yeah, we haven't yet received the report, so once the report comes,
Yeah,
It's going to be debated.
yes. So we must.
When do you hope to receive it, though?
usually once the reports are prepared, they are brought to the House and taken to the committee. And then the committee presents the report back to the House.
There is a documentary, I don't know how far true it is.
Yeah, just let us have a finish.
Which hold your fire?
There is a documentary, I don't know to what extent it is true, which implicates UPDF. Because we also, the Tanzanian Defense Forces refused to shoot protesters.
By the way, on that one, I take exception because logic would be that if the Tanzanian Defense Forces were for their people, would they then be happy to see their own people being killed by a foreign army in Dar es Salaam? Wouldn't they shoot back at the
Were
foreigners?
people killed?
That's why
I mean, they would be shooting. They would have killed UPDF officers whom they are claiming
George,
and were supporting.
Have you seen that
But
documentary?
that is not that.
George.
That one defeats logic totally.
George.
You can't have like our army now. UPDF is here.
Supporting the people.
Then support
And
the
Sudanese
then
are coming
Sudanese
to
come
kill
and
the
they're killing
people.
their people. And
So
then they're watching.
who killed the people?
I don't know. You can't say it's
Okay, now
UPDF.
when the truth will come out. I said that's why I put a disclaimer that there
We
is
have
a
to be very
documentary.
careful
I don't know
thinking
how
that-
true
that-
it is. That's why I put a disclaimer.
Okay.
I said there is a documentary. I don't know how true it is. It is alleging the hand of UPDF. I think my English is clear.
Maybe you put mercenaries, but not maybe.
Yes, and let's hear from Dr. Jambo.
Of course, after hearing my colleagues, you see,
let's be
with
mindful
our
of time.
provision of dual citizenship, I've been telling people that if there was a country, I would choose to be my second country of citizenship would be Tanzania.
I would choose Kenya.
Because I've been in Tanzania for some time, and I know Tanzania very well. I interact with it to an extent that sometimes I watch Tanzanian TVs than watching ours here. But what has come following what Odongo was saying in Tanzania is a disease that has affected the Great Lakes region. And that disease has been growing from these revolutionary armies which took over government and never transited into proper governments. And they have been infesting other governments which were tried to settle to have issues. But that said, I think Tanzania also has been receiving a lot of problems ever since Magufuli died. And those problems had even, Dong talked about having problems in Chadema. There were even more problems in CCM itself, so much so that there is now CCM Mutandao and the pure CCM. And there's a struggle between the mainland people and the Zanzibarese people. Remember, Magufuli came from a very huge community of the Sukuma. Those guys have been hatched. You remember the speaker who came from that region of Dodoma was removed in unclear circumstances, and he even later died. And many others. You remember there is this MP of Kawe, Gwajima, who was a strong supporter. His church has been closed indefinitely, and so many other problems. So there was a lot of boiling current. But this was nailed by the arrest of Tundu Lissu and suspension of Chadema from the politics of Tanzania. Because even if Tundu Lissu was not in jail, Chadema had already been suspended from participating in election. And then when the election itself came, what my friends there, which is missed, is that the mysterious way that the opposition leaders were disqualified also angered people. So I want you to sympathize with the Mr. Awich. He was in Musasani. He could not know what was happening in Gongolamboto, what was happening in Kawe, what was happening in Mbulandizi, what was happening in Kariako. Because when you are in Musasani, you can't see Kariako where there are real issues. But the truth, I have colleagues whom even when we were on this show, one of them was calling me right now. He has been giving me how things are happening because I was worried of him. There have been problems where there were demonstrations. So many people have disappeared, like they disappear in Uganda here. Those who were seen to be sympathizers of. So many others have been arrested. There is record of police that people have been arrested when they were in demonstration, so you cannot doubt it. Even the Tanzanian government has already acknowledged that people have died, and they died in this demonstration. And the president was calling calm and telling people to be calm. They are going to solve the problem. I think for me, I want to differ. Yeah, I want to differ a little bit from my colleagues. I think in the whole of this, East African institutions have been absent. The East African community, other than sending a delegation of observers, they have not come up with any statement up to now about the election. And therefore, we feel that that is not good. That is not good. That is not good because we don't need the country to first ban. Then we go back and read reports.
No, they have issued what they call a draft interim report.
Those are the observers.
I wanted a statement.
How about the institution of the East African community?
I wanted a statement from the EAC. Okay. And for me, this is something that is bad for East Africa. We need to run fast because we don't want what happened in Rwanda in 1994-95 to happen here in any other country again. So for me, I really feel that what is happening in Tanzania is not good, and it is happening everywhere. I want to tell you, in most of these African governments, other than in Malawi recently, where an opposition leader won, in 1 minute, please. Governments that are sitting can win an election without these things that they play because they control the state. They control all the resources and everything. So this business of thinking that you want to improve on your percentage, like Suluhu has done, there is no way. There is no way Nyerere can fail in Tanzania to get 90%. Then Suluhu comes and gets 90%. Thank you. When Nyerere is almost revered like a god. Thanks. No way. Major, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just say two things. One on still the question you put to me, or what was perceived is, I was there, what did I see? It seems we are mixing other things which happened with what I saw. Remember that day on the 29th, a public holiday was granted. And even on the 30th, when there was curfew. So there's basically no movement. Okay? There was no movement. No. So what I saw, unless you want me to say, I saw what I didn't see, and it makes you happy.
It's okay.
honestly, as a lawyer, I wouldn't be basing on hearsay. So I think I made it clear.
So for you, there was no problem.
What I saw, I did not see burning, and I did not see violence.
Let's
okay.
Yes, that is because that day,
We have
first of all, was
accepted.
no, but some people are saying I'm telling a lie. I should have said I've
it
seen
is
fire.
fine.
I've seen death. I should have. How? What I didn't see.
You had to pick
The other thing is, honorable is by the way, honorable is my neighbor. We build together. We build our houses, our permanent houses in Accra. We build our permanent houses in Accra. We are neighbors. Now, he said.
So you guys can actually
find
go
at home.
and
Yes,
carry on with
so
the
he said
conversation.
something with a
So-
sense of humor that I should not misrepresent
NRM.
NRM. But I want to say also with equal sense of humor that honorable knows I'm not on NRM, but NRA to NRM. And I'm a lawyer, so I would calculate my words. But also, I'm not so sure if honorable is NRM. Because Rule 4 of the Constitution, Rule 4, which is annexed to the Constitution, actually Rule 4, M, N, and O, says if you stand as an independent, you are out of NRM. So don't even go for NRM meeting. Go and check in the Constitution, Rule 4,
Okay.
M, N,
I
O.
am
So
going-
are you NRM? You are not.
We are not having a debate of
You are not.
NRM versus NRM.
So I am not going to misrepresent NRM, but you are not one. You are
gentlemen,
disqualified under Rule 4, M,
and-
N, and O.
I'm a founder of that party.
Thank you.
I'm a
Thank
founder.
you.
Major, am
I
I
am
NRM?
giving each one of you just 30 seconds to
No,
wind
it's
up.
not NRM.
Honorable Banyenzaki,
You
please.
stand as
We are
an
winding
independent.
up.
You
In
check
30
the rule.
seconds.
Check the Rule
Major.
4, M, N, and O.
Major
I'm
Awich,
Close.
30 seconds, wind up. Conclude in 30 seconds. We're moving
My
this way.
conclusion is I'm happy for Mamdan winning. It's good for
Mamdani.
Mamdani winning. It is good for Uganda. We
Kwame.
wish him well. 2 is that we should endeavor to grow and develop our democracy, both in Uganda and in East Africa as a region. We see the gaps that are there, we close it, and then democracy is also a normal developing thing. It's not hard and frozen.
Thank you. Honorable George Odongo.
Highly controlled environments have a tendency of nurturing violence. We have to make sure that we create the necessary environment for diversity to thrive, for people with different opinions to express themselves. We are created differently. So if God wanted all of us to look the same, then the world would be so boring.
Honorable, for me today, I've understood
Conclusion.
I've understood
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Banyenzaki.
Well, for my conclusion on unachievable flooding, it is unfortunate that such thing is happening. And of course, as I stated before, I think the government needs to come and explain that issue properly and apologize to the Kampala people that what was done was a mistake. So the government needs to own up and go backwards and correct the mistake that was done. And probably allow institutions to do their work. On the Tanzanian issue, specific Tanzanian issue, I think it is so unfortunate that Tanzania, which was a beacon of hope as an example in the East African region, not even Eastern Central, it is now sliding to join these other nations that manipulate the population and institutions. And we pray that probably sense will prevail and it goes back on track, but it's going to take a long period of time, not less than 10 years, for Tanzania to be where it was in terms of governance issues. And as we pray for Tanzania, we also pray for ourselves as a country, Uganda, and we pray for our continent, Africa, so that things are done right, so that our grand and great-grandchildren inherit a better continent.
Thank you. Dr. Sarah Bireete.
For Nachivubo Channel, arrest Ham Chugund and confiscate his properties to pay the traders. For Tanzania, there is an attempt to cover up what has happened there and carry on as if nothing happened. If the Tanzanians make that mistake without resolving the issues, that country will burn down.
Thank you. Dr. Jambo.
Yeah, thank you, Judith. For me, I think for Mamdani, the father taught political science. He's practicing politics. That is very good. And being a Ugandan, we are happy. Nakivubo channel is just one of the problems that are in this country, especially on governance and management of investment. These state-supported things should stop. And for me, I think the best thing to do is to stop that project and review it. And if it is to happen, but also the traders should be treated properly in accordance to the law. For Tanzania, I think if we were sane, we would request or ask the government of Tanzania to unconditionally release all the opposition leaders that they have put in cells and dialogue with them. I know Tanzanians are very good at dialogue. They talk a lot and they discuss a lot.
Thank you.
They are able to solve their problems.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much to each one of you for making time and for sharing your insights on this very interesting and important conversation on the integrity of the Tanzania elections and the Kampala floods. This is the Citizens Chat Show. My name is Judith Atim, I'm your host, and thank you very much for being a good audience. We do encourage you to drop us a comment in the comment section, subscribe, share, and to catch us again next week, same time. From all of us here in the studio and our production crew, it is bye-bye.